This video is about conditional clauses. What is conditional clauses in English? Conditional clauses consist of main clause and a subordinate clause. It starts with if, and conditional clauses differ from other complex structures both semantically and morphologically. Semantical means is the meaning of the condition clauses. If you just look at the condition clause, then if you change the verb will or would or had, the meaning will be changed based on the condition clause and main clause in the context. Also, the structure of conditional is complicated, so much so that the learners find it difficult to understand the condition clause's meaning in the real context. Next, we look at why we use condition sentences for different purposes. We can use condition clauses to make predictions using will. So what will happen in the future? So we have some experience on it. So it will happen like that. We can make the prediction and we can give the advice. Okay, if you do that, you will see the improvement in your performance. Like that, we can give a piece of advice using condition clauses and we can express our dreams. So I had this dream yesterday, or I will have that dream in future. This will be my dream. I will go if I get the admission at IIT. I will become a famous person in my interested area. So like that, you can express dreams using condition clauses and discuss mistakes in the past. If I had studied well, I would have scored more in my higher secondary education examination. Finally, we can use condition clauses for expressing hypothetical and imaginary situations. If you have any imaginary situations in your mind, you can express using condition clauses. Next, we will look at types of conditionals. There are four types of conditionals: type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3. These types are divided based on the traditional way of learning conditional clauses. Let us look at type 0 conditional clauses in English. Type 0 conditions refers to scientific truth or unchanging. Is it to put in other words, it is scientific truth or universal truth. For to express universal truth, we can use the grammatical form, the simple present tense in if clause, present simple in main clause. We have to use simple present tense in both conditional and main clause in English. For example, if you heat water until 100 degrees Celsius, it boils. So what will happen after 100 degrees? So it's not evaporating. So it is universal truth. If you start heating the water at 100 degrees Celsius in Tamil Nadu or in India, in America or Australia, New Zealand or North Korea, in France, Germany, if you go to do the experiment all over the world, you can get the same result. So it is universal truth. If it is universal truth, you have to use simple present tense, both conditional and main clause. Look at the second example. If you cool water to 0 degrees, it turns into ice. It also happens wherever you do the experiments. The third example for type 0 condition is you get water if you mix hydrogen and oxygen. Whenever you mix hydrogen and oxygen, you get water. So it is universal truth. So you have to use simple present tense in both clause. Type 1 conditionals. In what context do you use type 1 conditionals? We can use to predict the result of a future action, things which might happen in the future. So that what will happen in future. If there was some prediction relating to future, they can use simple present tense in if clause and will plus base form of the verb or infinitive in main clause. For example, if she gets good grades, she will go to university. So if she gets good grades. If she doesn't get good grades, she will not go to university. So she feels she gets more marks in the uh, higher education, higher studies, and then she will go to university. So she has some prediction about future so that we can use in the context. If she gets good grades, she will go to university. Look at the second example. You will fail the exam if you don't do more work. Even you can use main clause in the first part and the if clause in the second part. It is also used. So what is the difference between the first and second sentences in terms of punctuation marks? If you use conditional clauses in the first part, you have to use comma before main clause. If you use the main clause in the beginning, you don't use comma in the sentence. This is what you have to use it. But there is no change in terms of meaning. Third example, if you go to the market early, you will get some fresh fish. You just predict. If you want to get the fresh fish, what you have to do? So you have to go early to the market. So this one you can use a type 1 conditionals. Now look at the type 2 conditionals. To express unreal conditions. Real is unreal is a past. So you can look at it. What is structure for type 2 conditionals? Simple past tense in if clause and would plus infinitive or base form of the verb in the main clause. Look at examples. If everyone worked faster, we would finish in time. For example, look at it. Past tense in if clause and would plus base form of the verb in the main clause. So this is what you have to use it for type 2 conditionals. Now look at the second example. I would learn Italian if I had the time. If you look at the meaning, if I had time in the past, I would learn Italian. I didn't have the time, so I didn't learn Italian. So we can use it conditionals in this aspect. Look at the third example of type 2 conditionals. If I had lots of money, I would travel around the world. So you can use the simple past and then would plus infinitive in the main class. This is type 3. In addition to unreal conditions in the past, we can use type 2 conditionals in the future meaning, or future conditionals. Now look at it. If Henry were here, he would know the answer. Suppose you are discussing with your friends relating to the one problem, then one is missing. That time you can use it. If he were here, he would know the answer. So what is the structure for this type of conditionals? See, Henry is the third person singular. We have to use was. Because it's a past tense, you have to use was. For expressing type 2 conditionals in the future meaning, you have to use were in the if clause. And you have to use the would plus no in the main clause. So this is the structure for expressing the future conditionals in English. If my grandmother were alive today, so it is a future condition meaning, then she would be 105 years old. Okay, look at it here. You can use it the where to express the future conditionals, and then you have to use would in the main clause. Now, we can give you the piece of advice to somebody. We can use it. If I were you, I wouldn't tell anybody about this. In another words, we can use similar with a fixed expression in condition clause. If I were in your shoe, I wouldn't tell anybody about this. We can use I were you or if I were in your shoe, I wouldn't tell anybody about this. Like that, you can use the were and would plus base form of the verb. Apart from these, where we can use the where. This is one of the beautiful expression in conditional clauses in English. If you were to drink 1 liter of water early in the morning every day, it would cure most of the diseases. Here you can look at it were to. If you use the were to, it expresses the future meaning. If you have to drink 1 liter of water early in the morning every day, it would cure most of the diseases. Okay, this is what you can use the type 2 conditionals. Now look at the condition 2 conditionals again. First you can use the simple past and you have to use the would plus based on the verb is express past. If you want to express the future, you can use the same type 2 conditionals. We can use the verb, whether it is the third person singular or plural, second person singular plural, or first person singular or plural. You can use verb in this context. Then you can also use verb to express the future meaning. Now look at the type 3 conditionals. It's a past tense. So we can't use any present or future meaning. We can use it the type 3 conditions only in the past tense. To express unreal or imaginary past action. So what is the structure for type 3 conditionals? If past perfect and would have plus past participle. If you got studied harder, you would have passed your examinations. Look at here, had studied. Had studies refers to the past perfect. If you had studied harder, you'd have passed. So past would have plus past. That means past participle. So this is how you can use for the type 3. We wouldn't have been late if we hadn't missed the bus. So here you can use it hadn't missed in the if clause. And then in main class you have to use wouldn't have been late. And now look at it there. If I had asked him, he would have helped me. Here look at it, the past participle, past perfect in the main if clause, and would have plus V3 form in the condition clause. So you want to express any imaginary or unreal situation, you can use type 3 conditionals using the past perfect in if clause and would have plus past participle in main clause. Okay. Type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3. Apart from these four types, we have the other conditional subordinators to express the conditional meaning. Now look at it. Unless, we can also, unless, we can use it instead of if not. For example, we will have to cancel the show unless we sell more tickets at the last minute. If you look at the same, if not, we will have to cancel the show if we do not sell more tickets at the last minute. Instead of if not, we can use unless. Next one, if it not for or but for. Is one interesting if clause in English. If it not for but for. If it were not for Tirukural would not have written in Tamil. Here, if you look at it, if it weren't for, this is a fixed phrase in English. After that, you have to use a noun. Then Tirukkural would not have been written. This wouldn't have written in Tamil. Next one, but for the rain, I would have reached it in time. So this is what you can use it if it were not for or but for. Next, as long as, so long as. As long as it doesn't rain, we will have a great time. So we can use it as long as, and we can use the will or can, would, whatever you can use it based on the situation. I'm always fine as long as I can get about 6 or 7 hours of sleep. So we can use it the as long as the meaning. Next one on condition that you may borrow the book on condition you return it tonight. Here you can put on condition or on condition that you can use it instead of that. It's also possible. You may go out tonight on condition that you are back by 9 o'clock. So it is also on conditional meaning, is on condition that. Next one, providing that or provided that. The they may do whatever they like, provided that it is within the law. You look at it, provided that it is within the law. You can use it in this aspect. You can borrow this book providing that you bring it back. So you can use providing that or provided that in the conditional meaning. Next one, suppose that supposing. Supposing that he had come for an interview, would you have given him a job? We can also raise a question using this conditional meaning. So would you have given him a job? So it's a question. The next example, supposing you lost your passport, you would have to go to the embassy, wouldn't you? Either you can use supposing, you may use sentence, or you may use for raising the question. What will be the response? Or what will be constant? Like that you can use it the constant. Next one, even if. Even if we leave right now, we still won't catch the train, or I won't go into the water, even if I would swim. You can use even if in the conditional, then you can use a simple or past or future tense in the main class. You can use it based on the context. We can use in case. I will buy a sandwich in case I get angry. I get hungry. Or you take a coat with you in case the weather gets worse. Also, we can use the in case of. We can use in case is the one. The another one subordinate is in case of. In case of fire, you have to press the button. Okay, like that you can use in case or in case of. Okay, these are the some conditional subordinators. Just look at your glance what we discussed. What is conditional clause? What are the where we can use on conditional clause in English, and then types of conditionals, and then mixed conditionals. Now you have the task. What you have to do based on the structure and then types and meaning of the context, you have to complete the following conditional clauses meaningfully. So you have to write down appropriate verb forms and make meaningful sentence using your own words for all the sentences. If you have any doubt, go back to the previous slides and then look at the structure and then you have to write appropriate verb form and make meaningful sentence.